Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Chef Cutter Diamond welcoming you to yet another Cutter Top 10 sports video. And today we are going to take a look at the top 10 Monaco Grand Prix moments in F1 history. It is F1's crown jewel. It's basically the big May event that is on the same weekend as the Indy 500 in IndyCar and the Coca Cola 600 in NASCAR. So it's always the triple crown, or some people call it the Holy Trinity, but you can't really say it. But anyway, Monaco has been a great moment and all that. Of course, this video is sponsored by the Jacques Villeneuve First Season in F1 book. So that's the F1 official F1 stuff. So anyway, let's talk about the top 10 Monaco Grand Prix of all time. And we start at number 10 with a hometown favorite, falling flat in 2021. His name, with Ferrari, one of the greatest teams of all time, his name is Charles Leclerc. Now you'd be thinking, Charles Leclerc, Monaco's in France, right? Wrong. People forget Monaco is a principality and its own technical nation. I mean, yes, Monaco doesn't really have much in the way of things other than Princess Grace, who abdicated her acting career to be in the Monaco royal family. But Monaco is real, and it is a country. It's a principality, and it's not part of France. Anyway, Charles Leclerc made history as one of the rare F1 drivers to represent Monaco on the international stage. I mean, I know that there have been F1 racers who live in Monaco and all that because, the tax-free lifestyle and all that, like Michael Schumacher, but they represent other nations. Other way, Charles Leclerc had a chance to make his home nation proud in 2021 and qualified for pole. Unfortunately, he wrecked his car during pre-race action, so he had to actually race in his backup car and had to start from the pits and all that. Leclerc had a third place finish one year. I can't remember representing Monaco in Monaco, but it's not the easiest race to win, especially with the fact that the track has little time to overtake. Lots of people said it's the most boring race in history, but I doubt that highly. Number 9 is a great duel in Monaco between Nigel Mansell and Ayrton Senna. In 92, Monaco had a great race and all that. Mansell was in deep trouble. The Englishman who famously blew the 1986 F1 championship on the final laps with a wheel blowout actually had a late pit stop for a loose wheel nut. And then he rapidly closed the gap to Senna, pressuring the closest laps. Senna knew that he had to play defense against Mansell's car, so it worked. And Senna beat Mansell by decimal 2 seconds, which is not that easy to do, and all that. The duel remains a classic. It was Senna's sublime race work against Mansell's raw speed. Number 8 is Riccardo Patrici's Wild Ride 1982. It was one of the craziest Monaco finishes of all time in 1982. Unfortunately, this was the race. I think this was the race after Gilles Villeneuve died, or did Gilles Villeneuve compete at Monaco? I can't remember, but yeah, the 82 Monaco Grand Prix had some wildness to it. Closing laps were pure chaos. Many drivers actually were in the lead, but would crash or run out of fuel. It was basically Alain Prost's race to win for France. Nope. Didier Pironi. Nope. Andrea de Cesaris, the Aussie. No. Aussie Italian, no. Riccardo Patrisi was in the lead for Brabham, but somehow spun and stalled, giving Pironi a chance to win the title. But Pironi, right in the tunnel, ran out of fuel. Bad luck. Patrisi managed to restart his car, cross the line, and win his first ever F1 race. It was one of the most awkward moments ever. It was a sequence of events that remains almost comically unpredictable. And the BBC guys, like, I think James Hunt was there saying, won't someone finish this race? It was just amazing and all that. Number 7 is the first Monaco Grand Prix, 1929. We're almost at the century mark. It was the most glamorous event. William Grover Williams took victory in a Bugatti. It was decades of racing heritage. They raced through the city streets, past casinos and yachts, and it captivated audiences and established Monaco as an essential date on the motorsport calendar. Number 6 is the 2016 race for Lewis Hamilton winning it. It was a masterclass in optimism and skill. It actually worked out well, as Daniel Ricciardo was leading for Red Bull, and it looked like the Aussie was going to win it. However, the team botched a critical pit stop, giving Lewis Hamilton the win for Mercedes-Benz and making me a happy camper because, you know, I'm a Mercedes-Benz Lewis Hamilton guy. He held off Ricciardo's relentless pursuit to claim a memorable win, and it was unpredictable and high stakes. Number 5 is Michael Schumacher in qualifying 2006. This was actually one of the most talked about moments in Monaco's history, despite the fact it didn't happen during the race. In 2006, for qualifying, Michael Schumacher somehow, in some way, in a area of Monaco's called Rascasse, actually ended up stopping his car. He had troubles and all that, and then he kind of stopped his car there. And a lot of people thought that Schumacher, by putting himself in a certain spot, would prevent rivals from improving their lap times. Nevertheless, Schumi did not get away with it, as it was a deliberate, they called it a deliberate act, and Schumi got sent to the back of the grid. It was just unbelievable what Schumi could come up with in 2006. This is akin to 1997 at the European Grand Prix, when he went aftershock failure to try to destroy Shock's chances to win the 1997 F1 championship and to give him the when Schumi hit Schumacher. Unfortunately, he hit Schumi hit Villeneuve on the wrong side of the car and knocked himself out of the race. Villeneuve didn't win the race. He took third, which isn't that bad, but it was just enough to win the tournament. Worst of all for Schumi in 97 was because this was akin to 1994 with his stuff with Damon Hill. F1 disqualified him from second place. He had to go through European driving lectures and all that. You know, and that's what you get, asshole. Sorry, that's just me. Number 4 is Senna Prost 84. Everyone knows about Senna and Prost from Tokyo in 1989, well, in Japan, and even 1990. But these two guys would battle each other. They weren't teammates in 1984. Ayrton Senna was practically an outsider in the F1 world in 1984. And in only his 6th F1 race, driving a Tolman Hart. Do they make those anymore? I guess not. Senna had a charge in torrential rain, and in most F1 races, rain doesn't delay the race. Anyway, the charge in torrential rain brought him up through the field and into second place, rapidly closing on Alain Prost. Well, that unfortunately, the race was stopped early due to the torrential rain, meaning that Senna could not beat Prost. But nevertheless, that was the precursor to many wet weather drives that he actually produced quite well. Number 3 is a shocking race in 1996. It was chaos incarnate. You thought 1982 was chaos, but 1996 was worse. Torrential rain and treacherous conditions decimated the field. There were only 3 cars that actually finished the race on the lead lap and all that. It was dramatic. Lots of cars crashed. I am just going to go through Wikipedia and show you and to tell you how bad it was and all that. The classification. Yeah, only 6 cars technically finished the race and all that. Well, Olivier Panis was helping France out because France and Monaco were close, but Olivier Panis, of all freaking people, ended up winning the race over David Coulthard of Scotland, aka Great Britain, and another Great Brit, Johnny Herbert, who actually in 1991 had his legs broken in a massive crash, and everyone thought that he was not going to be able to walk again. Heinz Harald Franzen took 4th. He only completed 74 of the 75 races. Mika Salo of Finland took 5th, and Mika Häkkinen, his fellow Finn, took 6th. They were both in a collision, but they only finished 70 to 75 laps. Shock failure with my boy did not end up placing points. He went out in 66 laps with a collision. Eddie Irvine from good old Scotland. No, sorry, Northern Ireland took seventh. But yeah, he went a collision. Luca Vidor went out at 60 laps in a collision. Yana Lacey went out 60 laps suspension failure. Damon Hill went out with engine. Martin Brundle was in an accident. Gerhard Berger went out with gearboxing. Pedro Denis transmission. Ricardo Rosé accident. Katayama accident. Michael Schumacher went out and he didn't even complete one lap. Rubens Barrichello, Pedro Lamy, Giancarlo Fisichella, and Jos Verstappen, Max Stead, also didn't complete the race. So it was just unbelievable how Pettis did it. And the worst part was for Pettis, that was his only race he ever won in the F1. Number 2 is Mr. Monaco, and it's not Ayrton Senna, although he did win 3 straight titles before his 1994 death, and he couldn't defend his title. But anyway, Graham Hill was named Mr. Monaco. He won 5 times in the 1960s. In an era between 1963 and 1969, those 7 years, he won 5 of them, which was amazing. He could tame the winding streets, negotiate the tight corners, and master the unforgiving track. A simple consistency. Monaco is not easy to do. Like, I play many F1 games. I even play F1 Race Stars for the PS3. And it's not as great as a course as you think it is. It's not that easy. Hill's domination helped cement Monaco's status as F1's crown jewel. And number 1 is Ayrton Senna again, but this time 1988. He had an astonishing qualifying lap in 1988. So fast, he beat second place in qualifying was 1.4 seconds slower, and that was Alain Prost, who was Senna's teammate in 1988. They weren't brawling like they were in 89. It's just tough to imagine. He was in a different dimension, despite the fact that he did a great qualifying lap. He didn't do well and crashed in the actual race. But nevertheless, Ayrton Senna was just amazing. And who knows, maybe he would have won his fourth straight Monaco in 1994 if it wasn't for that accident at Imola. Well, you can only dream. Anyhow, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.